Hello, Blabman here. How you doing? Top of the morning to you. You have to excuse my throat is still not awake. I'd like to apologize first and foremost for not posting a video yesterday. Simply put, I was driving from California to Las Vegas, Nevada, and yes, I didn't want to make a video in the car. Excuses aside, here's your video for Wednesday. As today is Thursday, I will be posting two today, despite my travel plans. Anyhow, so today I'm kind of doing a little bit of a smaller video. It was weird coming up with a what if, as is the new thread. I had an idea and was like, don't know if I want to be talking about that. So, I came up with a different idea, which I think is a good one, but as I think it through in my head, I'm like, that's kind of a short conversation. So, oh well, we're just gonna do a shorter what if today, and that's okay. I'm at my friend's abode at the moment. This is why the wonderful background. They work on cars. They're amazing, Jill and Christoph. Anyhow, so the what if for today is talking about a subject that I feel is near and dear to all of our hearts, which is Social Security. This concept of, hey, I make such and such amount of money, and then eventually in my life, like, you get old, you can't work, or you don't want to work, you want to retire, yada yada. And how we have it set up right now is effectively, for every dollar you make, like above board dollar, you pay a certain amount of that to the government. Goes into Social Security, and then what happens is at a certain point the government starts parceling it out to you. Now, interestingly enough, when you're giving this money to the government, they're supposed to hold it for you. That's the idea. But in actual fact, because they're greedy, corrupt mofos, what they've done instead is taken that money and they're like, oh, well, thank you for the money, sir. Now I'm just going to spend it on whatever we feel like. And it's like, well, that's not what the money's supposed to be for. And what that has led to is effectively, they're basically taking from Peter to pay Paul. They're taking from the son to pay the father, or even the grandfather in some cases. Which is kind of, it sounds good until you have a population decrease, or less people work, or less people make money. Because in all three of those instances, now the son, or even the grandson, and it could be the daughter, the granddaughter, okay, I'm not trying to be sexist. Now they are not making enough to pay for that. So like the boomer generation, if you will, that is larger, and a lot of them are retiring. That's larger than younger generations. So the 30-year-olds or the 20-year-olds or what have you. So it's kind of becoming more and more difficult numerically for this to happen. And this didn't mean to be a whole history lesson, but generally that's kind of what if is about today, which is what if instead of doing that, what if we as a society, when your kids become adults or when they start working, you have an agreement, the kids and the parents have an agreement with each other where the kids will give like 1% of what they make, okay? And I'm just using 1% because it's an easy single digit thing to remember. But they give 1% of whatever they make to their parents, like either to hold or just in general income, okay? And the reason why I think this is an interesting idea, because if you think about it, you have kids, and as it currently stands in America, for 18 years, you're footing the bill on all this stuff, and you got to pay for all sorts of stuff. You're responsible as a parent to pay for all these things. And that's not bad. That's fine. I understand. You can go into specifics about it. But I think it might be interesting is once the kid starts working, they pay a little bit of their income to their parents. Why I think this might be a workable idea is because more often than not, parents still help their children after they've left the house, right? So if that's the case, then you as a parent are still not responsible, but you're still helping maintain and helping your children do amazing things. So I think it's only fair that the kids are putting in some monetary exchange for it. It's nice that parents are doing it out of the, the fondness for their children, the good of their own heart, that's all good. But I think it would also be nice if kids also kind of picked up the mantle and started taking care of their parents when they start working, and just in a small level, so that in the long term, their parents can retire if they feel like it, or just are starting to get some like monetary thing. I also think it would help bond parents and children more. It obviously has some drawbacks. Whenever you deal with money can kind of like make or break a friendship. I don't know if you've ever tried to borrow $20 from a friend, and then all of a sudden they're not your friend anymore, and you're like, dude, it was just $20, and they're like, oh my god, I owe you money, I think you're, and it's just such a weird concept. Like, anyways, so I don't suggest lending money to friends, because that's a whole other thing. Or if you do borrow or lend money, get it back and be nice about it. Or another alternative is, if you lend money to friends, don't look at it as lending. Just be like, okay, I'm giving you $20. I'm just giving it to you. I'm not expecting it back. Because if you're truly with good friends, it'll all work out. So anyways, my thought is, if you take the government out of the equation, right? And you're like, bye-bye government. No, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just like, cool. And especially now, so then if you're a kid, as you're working, you're giving money, and maybe you're putting in an investment account or something like that, so your parents can utilize it later, and creating your own like savings account for them. Well, now your parents have a vested interest in you doing what you want to do, that's going to make you not only happy, but also make you affluent, right? Because that positively affects them, because 1% of $50,000 a year is drastically different than 1% of $5 million a year, okay? So the parents have a vested interest in you being successful, because it does positively affect them as well, which is good. Not that parents don't have that, but that's smart. Also, parents have a vested interest of, when the kid is learning and growing up, for them to be smarter about what they do, and to, help ensure that the kid has as much help and education so that they can be wise and capable. So basically, what I'm trying to do is subtly have parents be more and more involved in the upbringing of their kid's life, because they have a real big gain. Now, I feel like there's a missing component of this, like, what's in it for the kid? Well, reversely, when the kid gets old enough and has their own kids, then they also get to benefit from that. So you're basically stacking on top of each other, and you're keeping it in the family, as opposed to, again, involving the government. So anyhow, it was a thought that I had. It was kind of like an interesting what if. I feel like China, at least it used to, like one of the old ways they used to do it, is a little different, in the sense that when kids got old enough, they would stay in there. They would basically expand the household and include, if one of the children got married, they'd include that marriage. They would join the household, okay? And that's kind of like a different way of doing a similar thing, in the sense of, so the kid's money is going to come into the household and help provide for the house and food and all that stuff, and it ends up making it cheaper all around for all parties involved. That's a way of doing it. It's not quite what I'm talking about, but I wanted to know what you guys think. Do you think that kids would be getting the short end of the straw, and therefore it's not a good deal? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think Social Security is a good idea? What do you think? Just put it in the comments. Let me know. Please like, subscribe, share it to anybody you think this would be an interesting conversation. That's one thing I would love, is if you think this is interesting enough, you tell someone you know, have the conversation, then put it in the comments like, hey, I talked to my friend about this, and he thought you're an idiot, and blah, 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 blah. Hey, cool, I want to hear it. Please do. Anyways, like, subscribe, share. Love you all. Talk to you all soon. Take care. Plaid Man out. Bye.